Oh man, the story that has polarized entertainment over the last couple years presumably is now over. The state versus Tory Lanez, in which California wanted to prove that Tory Lanez was guilty of shooting Megan Thee Stallion, is just that. Tory Lanez was found guilty on Friday. The verdict came right before the holidays. A group of LA jurors claimed that the rapper from Canada was guilty on all three charges against him: felony, negligent discharge of a firearm, assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and carrying a loaded and unregistered firearm. After the verdict was read, several members of Tory's family, including his dad and stepmom, shouted that the system stands before God and calling the court system evil. Deputies surrounded his family members and escorted them out of the courtroom. For those who don't know, Tory faces 22 years in prison, which will be determined on his sentencing date that as of right now is January 27. Sources connected to the case tell me that Tory Lanez is likely facing deportation. His team had already been in contact with immigration, so in all likelihood, Tory Lanez will be deported back to Canada. Well, just because of the extreme magnitude of this case, we're dealing with two high-profile artists, and because I have been following the case from the beginning to its end, I thought it would be important to give my 2 cents, which is something that we typically don't do on this platform anymore, on what I thought about the verdict that will now see Tory Lanez potentially do the next 22 years of his life in prison for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. I was shocked, dumbfounded at the verdict. I want to be clear, this is not about Megan Thee Stallion. My perspective would be the same no matter who was on the other side of this traumatic experience. And I want to be clear, I want Megan Thee Stallion to take the time to get the help that she needs to get through this. And I pray that she's able to bounce back and have a successful 2023 and career after that. This ain't about Megan Thee Stallion. I'm just looking at the evidence and looking at the case and reading the notes and some of the transcribes, because we did not have audio, to be fair. We did not have that audio of Megan Thee Stallion being emotional in the courtroom. That's important, right? We didn't have that. But from what I saw of this case, I find it hard to believe or hard to cope with and live with a man being sentenced to 20 some odd years in prison. Most likely, we'll see what the exact year amount is from the judge on January 27. I'm having a hard time being comfortable with that. This period. Like, that case was all over the place. There were multiple reneges. Seemingly, the truth was being half told, if at all. And for the jurors to come back a couple days before Christmas, might I add, with that verdict that will pretty much essentially end a man's career and change his life forever, to come back with that verdict in about 2 weeks' time, it's uncomfortable to me. Sorry. Period. I gotta tell my truth, and that's how I genuinely feel. Has nothing to do with the person on the other side of that. I'm 100% with protecting women, especially black women. I'm just speaking as a person with no bias in the fight. I don't know either of the parties involved. I'm uncomfortable seeing a man get sentenced to 20 some odd years in prison, potentially, with the evidence that was there or not there in this case. The one thing I'm sure Tory Lanez and his team will have to live with for a long time is their decision in the final days as a defense to not have Tory Lanez take the stand and tell his side of the story. They got to live with that. That was a decision that Tory's team made, and it is a costly one. Thank y'all so much for the time, love, and support. Again, hey, I'm just keeping it real. This is the legal system in the United States is supposed to be innocent until proven guilt. From what I've read, for 2 weeks, day to day, witness to witness, I find it hard to believe that California proved Tory Lanez guilt. And that's uncomfortable with me.